So, if you flip through the childhood pages of my album, you would see this very sweet kid with beautiful button eyes, very typical of Bengalis, like big button eyes. But uh, if you go through them coherently, you would actually construe a very typical pattern. You would see that kid holding her palms in front of her face and hiding her smile. You come to think of it now, it's really such a damning thought. I mean, a kid restricted to smile effortlessly. To be honest, when we speak of inhibitions, yes, I was this kid, a very skinny kid. Growing up, I was this very skinny kid with two very prominent buck teeth, trying to hide it vehemently, but of course in vain. I, I consider myself lucky in several ways because one, I don't have significant memory of being bullied coherently for this, and two, I have always been associated with fairly liberal, well aware, ethically aware association, be it my family, be it my friends, for whom this was never an issue and it never will be. But then, why was I still this coy girl, coy about her smile, to be precise? Because growing up, I was, and I'm sure, like many other women out there, bombarded with narratives which had no alternative. What kind of narratives? I'm sure, I'm relatable to many out there right now when I say that in our school days, I don't think we have read as much of celebrations of women with intellect. But what was rather readily more available was highly sexualized images of people on the magazine, pop-up images of celebrities with skeletal figures and picture perfect smile. So, one way or the other, maybe latently, but I was trying to fit into the ideal image. I think my obsession with my buck teeth started most prominently uh, with an incident that happened in my high school. And it's very strange that I'm sharing it now in front of you, Ayush, because I've never shared this incident throughout my life. I don't think I have the memory of thinking about it with myself too. And it's ironic how trying to think about this today, this occasion, I kind of actually thought about that memory, and it's also very surprising to me that how hurtful it was and how I never actually paid attention to it because maybe few things are normalized that way that we kind of think it's normal to be one way or the other bullied. But I actually never realized that maybe I was bullied at that time. Nonetheless, the incident so happened that she happened to be one of my classmates, and one day I don't distinctly remember the incident, like the occasion, why it was spoken of, but I distinctly remember what she told me. She spoke in Bangla and she said, রশনি তুই কিছু একটা কর তোর স্মাইলটা নিয়ে and I looked at her with surprise and she told me, হ্যাঁ আমি জানি তোকে কেউ কখনো বলবে না, বাট আমি তো তোর বন্ধু, তাই আমি বলছি তোকে না খুব বাজে লাগে দেখতে, তোর তুই হাসলে তোকে খুব বাজে লাগে দেখতে. She meant that I looked I was actually called ugly by someone, uh, and it struck me very hard back then. Uh, I was fairly a popular kid in my school, and I don't know, and she was also fairly a popular girl too, and it kind of had so many things reeling in my mind that just that sentence. I mean, I it took me a long time to process it, but one way or the other, I knew I had to do something about my smile back then, and so the entire tussle started. That made me visit the dentist. That was also the first time I saw my parents actually worrying about it. They were hardly bothered about it before this. And so I went to the dentist. I went through a process of excruciating pain. I let go of four permanent teeth. It might sound funny in some occasion, but it's extremely painful for me, and I know it for a fact when I say this. One day, my mom told me that you shouldn't even do this in the first place because you're hurting yourself for nothing. I was always a very gifted and talented kid. I was, you know, dancing, designing. I was fetching pretty good grades, none of which mattered to me at that point of time. But the only thing that mattered was I had to fix my smile because I had to fit into an ideal. One fine day, and it was just before my boards, I had got my tooth plucked out, a permanent teeth, and I fell unconscious. And that was the day my father said that this like circus has to stop. I think that incident, in fact, changed the relationship with my body, even if partially it did. And that was also the day my father told me that remember this when I say this, that your teeth is going to bring you fame one day. Who knew his prediction would come true? Uh, thank my lucky stars, or thanks to Ayush Kejriwal. That same girl with two big fangs was on the pages of World magazine one day. So, what changed then? I think the way I started treating my body changed, the way I felt about myself changed. The day I looked into the mirror and the day I started believing that I was unique only because of my teeth and that it was an identity I was, born with it for a reason and it had become a part of my identity. I think that changed everything. So I have a message for all the young women out there of my age, younger to me, or even elder to me, that I am Roshni said, I'm 26. I started teaching in a college when I was 23. I became a social media influencer when I was 25. I did all that with quote unquote a fairly moderate face and two buck teeth. So I say this to my students and I'll end the video with the same message that you yourself create the oyster which becomes your world. It's never served to you. It starts with you believing in yourself, it starts with your self belief, self love. And once you do that, everything else takes its own shape, takes its own course, falls in its place.